Late evening, family. Late evening. Late evening. If you're watching this later, please give me maybe about 60 seconds to give an opportunity for individuals to tune in. But you go ahead and share this out. Right now, I'm going to talk about the detours saved you. The detours saved you. And I'll explain exactly what I'm talking about here in a second. But in the meantime, I pray and hope that things are going really well for you right now in these weird times that we're living in. I want to encourage you to don't give up hope, because where things that we don't understand, we have one who's in control. And the one who's in control, he's guiding this and allowing things to happen ultimately for his purpose. And not to dive deep in on this, we have to know that God created everything, right? Just like when Adam and Eve, when Adam disobeyed God and they ate from the tree, God had to put together a plan. God put together a plan to redeem us. Because when Adam disobeyed God, sin entered the world. So every human being who were born after Adam was infected with sin, was infected by sin. So in order for us to come in the family of God, it was through the blood of Christ. So God put a plan together to redeem us, to justify us, to save us. And from Adam all the way to Jesus, death, look how long it took for that plan to unfold. A lot of things transpired, a lot of things happened, right? So if you think about that, where we're looking at this world that we're living in now, and we see all these bad things happening, so on and so forth, and we don't understand why. Well, just like God had a purpose, and because he had a purpose that needed to be fulfilled from Adam to the death of Christ to give us life in him, like the gap, the time gap in between, it was great. Right? But God's purpose got fulfilled. So where we don't understand what's going on now in this world, let's not come up against things that we may not understand based on what the naked eye can see. Because everything happened in the spiritual realm first. And because everything happened in the spiritual realm first, what we see physically, it already transpired in the spiritual realm. So let's not get so caught up in what we see, because God also allowed certain evil to take place in this world. But he used that evil for good. So where we see great evil today, know that it is all going to work out for our good according to his will, plan, and his purpose in this life. All right, so let's try not to get discouraged about what's going on. He got this under control. Let's just trust his will, although we don't understand his way, because his will be done through only his way. All right, so what we're going to talk about is the detours saved you. The detours saved you. So I I know no better story to bring to you that's going to help connect what I'm presenting to you. Please go and read the story of Joseph in Genesis, I think starting at 37 or 38 or 36 or 37. God began to give Joseph dreams at the age of 17. And those dreams didn't come to pass until he was like 30 something years old. All right? So look at the time gap. At least 14, 15, 16 years old. 14, 15, 16 years transpired before the dreams that God first gave him at 17 began to come to life. Again, God have a plan and a purpose, right? So we have to trust his timing and trust how things transpired between that gap, because his will and his purpose is going to get done, right? So from 17 all the way until Joseph's life was in his early 30s, he experienced three detours that got him to his purpose in life, which was to preserve all of life, where he fulfilled that in the role which he was promoted to second in command of all of Egypt. Can you imagine that? So the first detour, well, first his brothers threw him in a pit. All right, they plotted to kill him, but then instead of killing him, they ended up selling him into slavery. That was the first detour. So from his hometown, with his family, he was sold into slavery. I want to say it was the Ishmaelites. I don't remember, but the individuals that they sold Joseph to took him to Egypt, to Potiphar, where he became Potiphar's assistant over everything in his home, except his wife. My brothers out there, except for his wife, where his wife was attractive, and she was attracted to Joseph because he was handsome and so on and so forth, and she would press up on him, try to sleep with him, and he would always run off. Well, one time he ended up leaving his cloak behind that she seen, and then she screamed and yelled out saying that he tried to rape her. So when Potiphar got home, this was the other detour. When Potiphar got home, he then ended up in prison. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Potiphar put him in prison, which I don't think he actually believed his wife, because Joseph, he was a man of God and of great character and integrity. You know what I mean? But what do you do? So he put Joseph in prison. That was the other detour, where he was in prison for a minimum of 2 years. He was in prison for over 2 years. And then here's the other detour. The next detour, which was the transition into the palace of Pharaoh, where then God used him through his gifting and God interpreting the dream through Joseph. And that's when he was promoted to second in command. At least a 18-year gap from God. 17. At least like a 14, 15, maybe 16-year gap between when God first gave Joseph the dream, and then he began to see it manifest. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what you're struggling with currently. But please understand Whatever detour that is transpiring in your life and have transpired in your life, it is a reason God have a purpose for it, because he know where he's leading you. You may not understand why. 1 minute things are going great, everything is going excellent, everything is going perfect, and then something hit the fan. Something terrible happens. Something gets in the way of what you see, the perfect plan that was actually playing out for you. And it seemed like a plug from a wall just got disconnected. I want to encourage you. Stay plugged in to remain connected to your source, your power source. Because your power source, God, your power source, Christ, the Holy Spirit who's working inside of you, is working out a greater plan than your own. God operates outside of time. So he see everything. He know everything from the beginning to the end. We only see so much according to the vision he gives us. So based on what we see, we don't always see the things that's going to happen. We don't always see the detours that's going to happen on the road to achieving that goal or living out the life that God created us to have. So please understand and know that the detours in your life, past, present, and future, for one, understand is for your good. Two, know that according to our plans, many are the plans in our hearts, but it is God's purpose that prevails. So we have to understand that so we can learn to trust him in the midst of the detours, because we don't understand the detours and why and where it's going to lead us to, and when we're going to actually get there. We get frustrated, we get impatient, we get upset. Quite frankly, we get beside ourselves as if God owed us something and he done wronged us. No, whatever his plan is much greater than our own. And we are the benefactors of it, because ultimately he's going to get his glory. So we must learn to come under his lordship and trust that his plan is greater than ours. And trust that his plan is going to produce a much greater harvest in our lives than what we're trying to do for ourselves. And no, this has nothing to do with money, although blessings will have it, we may, we may be blessed by that. Opportunities, whatever it is. Remember, we're not doing it for our good. We're not doing it because, how can I benefit? We are only doing it for the will of God, for his glory, and being willing to come under his lordship and be an empty vessel for him, so the people who he's trying to reach, connect, and bless through our obedience, they can see God. They can experience God. They can now know that he is real, and it's ultimately not just for their benefit to say, their pockets are good or they have a better living or lifestyle, although God's plan may include that, but it's only so he can be illuminated to the world that he is the God of all Lord. He is the God of all gods. He's the King of kings and the Lords of lords. So he can bring us into his kingdom family, so we can be saved. Our souls can be saved, so we won't go to hell. That's what it's about, and we get to share in that. What a true blessing it is to be able to come in oneness with the creator of all things, to live out his plan and purpose for this entire existence. That's an honor. A lot of us, we go to our jobs and and work at these companies, whether we like it or not, we are partnering in their vision and their plans. And they give us a small percentage of what we bring to the table. But we ain't got a choice, right? Because we have bills. But our Heavenly Father, what a great honor it is and pleasure to partner in His plan, His vision, and His purpose for our life. Because guess what? He don't have to include us in anything. That does not mean that everything is going to always be perfect. That definitely doesn't mean that it's going to always go our way. But what we can count on, that the Lord who we serve loves us unconditionally. And He wants to have this father and son and father and daughter relationship with us, where we can grow in the family of His kingdom. That is a great honor. So with understanding that and learning that Detours is ultimately for our good, and in fact, it saves us from dumb, irrational, irresponsible, improper decisions that we've made. Those detours saved us from God knows what that could have happened on the other end of our decisions had He not intervened on our behalf. Where a detour needed to be necessary, where we was going astray, but that detour brought us right back to our Father and King in heaven. So it's a call for us to surrender ourselves to Him, even if it's in one area of our life. If we don't know how to surrender in all, let's work on surrendering in one area of our life. And may that one area lead to another area, to another area, to another area. And seeing how we are so able to surrender ourselves and surrender these things, surrender our lives, our plans, our purpose, surrender all of us to Him, one area at a time. We'll also learn and grow to trust Him more, even when things doesn't look promising, even when things doesn't look beneficial, even when things don't appear to be for our good. When we learn to trust Him, every time on the other side of it, we're always going to see Romans 8:28. For we know all things work together for the good of those who love God and who are called according to His purpose. And we can share in His glory, share in His blessing. Not saying that we receive glory for anything, but that we were participants in His work that brought Him glory, and we can scream, shout, we can praise, we can worship Him all the day long, because we know His goodness. Because we know His goodness is the greatest of it all. All right, so please share this out, because again, for us to know that Detours saved us. Past detours saved us. Current detours that we may be encountering or experiencing right now is keeping us. Future detours will take us where God is taking us, where He's leading us. So consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kinds, knowing that the testing of your faith will produce perseverance. And let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be complete and mature, not lacking anything. All right, family, I love you all greatly. Share this to reach, connect, hopefully save and deliver someone from the detour that they may be going through, so they'll know that God is taking them somewhere they have not, as He is present with you as well, always and forevermore. Much love, family. Peace.